Sagittarius. Destiny marks you. Death is approaching. Someone you loved will return. And the ending. Sagittarius, there are moments in life when the universe whispers louder than usual. When destiny does not knock gently but pounds on the door of your soul, demanding to be heard. This is one of those rare times. The cosmic tides surrounding you now are both unsettling and electrifying, echoing through every fiber of your being. It feels like standing at the edge of a storm. The sky heavy, the air charged, and your heart knowing that change is inevitable. The recent shockwaves across the collective events that have shaken faith, trust, and safety, like the assassination attempt on public figures, are not isolated. They are reflections of a deeper truth. Endings and beginnings are woven together, and you, Sagittarius, are being marked by destiny itself. What lies ahead is not meant to scare you, but to awaken you. There is a shadow near, an ending of something you thought would last forever. But equally, there is a flame being rekindled, a return of love or connection that once felt lost. As you step into this journey with me, let us walk together through the gates of transformation. If these words touch your spirit, I invite you to gently like, share, and subscribe, not as a habit, but as a way of anchoring yourself into this circle of wisdom and healing. For what you're about to discover may just change the way you see everything. Gate 1: The Mark of Destiny. Sagittarius, you are no stranger to adventure, uncertainty, or the great unknown. Yet destiny has a way of arriving in forms that even your free-spirited soul cannot anticipate. Right now you are standing at a threshold where life feels different, almost heavier, as though an invisible hand has drawn a circle around you and whispered, "You have been chosen." This is the mark of destiny, and it rarely comes without turbulence. You may feel it in your body as restlessness, in your dreams as symbols too vivid to ignore, or in the strange synchronicities that keep appearing in your daily life. Something as simple as seeing the same numbers over and over, or hearing the same phrase from different people, carries a message. Your path is aligning with something fated. The recent collective events, such as the shocking attempt on Charlie Kirk's life, mirror the energy surrounding you. These are not just random tragedies, they are echoes of a universal theme, that life is fragile, endings can be sudden, and destiny has no patience for those who try to outrun it. For Sagittarius, the lesson is sharper now. To embrace the inevitability of endings not as punishment but as sacred transitions. Death in this sense does not always mean physical death. It can be the death of an illusion, of an outdated identity, or of a relationship that can no longer serve your growth. And yet, as one door closes, another always opens. This paradox is the very heartbeat of destiny. To understand this moment, imagine the archer's arrow, your eternal symbol. When the bow is drawn back, there is tension, silence, and a sense of waiting. This pause is uncomfortable, and it demands trust. You cannot see where the arrow will land, but you know it must be released. In the same way, destiny is drawing back the bowstring of your life right now. The tension you feel, the uncertainty, the fear of what might end, is not cruelty. It is preparation. You are about to be propelled forward, and the direction is beyond your full control. Sagittarius, your life story has always been about seeking truth, about walking roads no one else dares to travel. But destiny is reminding you that the road ahead is not just about discovery. It is about surrender. You cannot negotiate with fate. You cannot hide from the cosmic cycles that demand transformation. Just as night follows day, there are endings you cannot prevent. The wisdom lies not in resisting them but in asking, what is this ending making room for? What is this chapter preparing me to receive? Consider how many times in your life you have resisted change only to later see its necessity. Think of relationships that once felt essential but now live only as memories. Think of dreams you thought would define your future but which quietly dissolved, making space for greater ones. Every ending, painful as it was, carved you into someone wiser. Every loss burned away illusions and left you with a clearer vision of who you are meant to be. This is destiny's way, not to comfort but to sharpen. And right now it sharpens you again. The assassination attempt mentioned earlier is not just a political moment, it is a collective mirror. It asks all of us, but especially you, Sagittarius, to awaken to the urgency of life. None of us are promised tomorrow. This awareness does not need to drown you in fear. It can liberate you. For when you accept that endings are always near, you begin to live with more honesty, more courage, more authenticity. You stop wasting time on what drains your spirit, and you start investing in what truly matters. This is the deeper mark of destiny. It is not just about what happens to you, but about how you choose to respond. Some Sagittarians will feel this energy in their personal relationships. Someone you once loved deeply may reappear, not by accident but by fate's orchestration. This return is not random. It is part of the story that destiny is writing for you. Sometimes the universe circles us back to unfinished love, not so we can repeat the past, but so we can see it from a new light. Whether this person remains in your future or simply teaches you one last lesson, their reappearance will mark a turning point in your journey. And perhaps it is not their return that matters most, but who you have become since they left. Destiny brings them back not to rewrite your story, but to reveal how much you have grown. Others may experience destiny's mark through career, health, or spiritual awakening. You may feel called to leave behind a role, a path, or an identity that no longer fits. The death approaching could be the dismantling of a belief system that once gave you security. Imagine the tower struck by lightning. It crumbles not because the universe wants to destroy you, but because the foundation can no longer hold the truth of who you are becoming. This collapse may frighten you, but in the rubble lies freedom. For Sagittarius, freedom is everything. And when destiny marks you, it does so to release you into a wider horizon, one you could not have reached had you clung to the old walls. Even your sense of time may feel altered. Days blur and moments feel heavier, as though destiny itself is compressing your journey, urging you to awaken faster. Pay attention to the dreams that linger when you wake, the sudden emotions that surface without reason, the words that echo long after they are spoken. These are not coincidences, they are signposts. They point you toward the truth that destiny is not far away. It is here, breathing on your neck, pressing into your heart, demanding that you step forward. Sagittarius, let this be your mantra. I do not fear destiny. I am shaped by it. For the mark on you now is not a curse. It is a crown forged in fire. To walk through this season with open eyes is to accept that something must end, but also that something astonishing will begin. It may feel as though death itself is approaching, but what is really dying is the false self, the outdated story, the illusion that you are in control. And as it dies, the true self, the one marked by courage, vision, and unbreakable spirit, will rise. Gate to death is approaching. Sagittarius, when we hear the word death, fear often rises like a shadow at the edge of the soul. Yet in the language of the stars, death is rarely a literal ending. It is more often a transformation, a shedding, a sacred passage into a new state of being. For you, the message that death is approaching does not arrive to paralyze you. It comes to prepare you, to awaken you to the power of impermanence and the necessity of release. In truth, every moment of your life has carried the seed of death within it, because every beginning is tethered to its ending. What is different now is that the presence of endings is more vivid, more immediate, and more undeniable in your life. Sagittarius, your fiery nature resists finality. You are the archer always looking to the horizon, chasing tomorrow with unshakable faith. But destiny is now teaching you that even the horizon eventually gives way to night. You may feel that certain chapters of your life are closing too soon, or that people and roles you leaned on are slipping away. This can feel cruel, unjust, even unbearable. And yet, the wisdom of the cosmos is clear. What is ending for you was never meant to last forever. Just as autumn leaves fall so that new buds can bloom in spring, your life too must make space for the next growth. Death is not an enemy. It is a gardener, pruning what has withered so that your soul can thrive. Look at the world around you. The attempted assassination of Charlie Kirk shocked many, not only because of the act itself but because it forced people to confront mortality, violence, and the fragility of existence. You, Sagittarius, are being called to confront the same truths in your personal sphere. No matter how much you try to plan, no matter how fast you run, endings are inevitable. You are being asked to stop avoiding, to stop running, and instead to lean into the wisdom of mortality. For when you live with the awareness that death is always near, you begin to live more fully, more truthfully. You begin to love without holding back, to speak words of kindness instead of delaying them, to pursue dreams that once seemed too daring. Death, when faced honestly, becomes the greatest motivator to live. Perhaps you have already sensed something shifting. The closing of a relationship, the decline of a certain passion, or the fading of an old dream. It may feel like you are watching the light dim in a room you once loved. At first, this can stir grief. You may resist, you may cling, you may beg for things to remain as they were. But Sagittarius, your soul was never meant to cling. You were born under the fire of exploration, destined to embrace the unknown. In your heart, you know that every ending is a threshold. And while one part of your life falls silent, another waits beyond the door, filled with a song you have not yet heard. In this season, it is vital for you to redefine your relationship with endings. Death is approaching not to harm you but to awaken you. Think of it as the phoenix, an ancient symbol of death and rebirth. The bird burns, consumed by its own flames, and for a moment all that remains is ash. But from the ash a new creature arises, stronger, brighter, unafraid of fire. You are in that very process, Sagittarius. The flames may feel unbearable. The ash may seem endless, but you are not perishing. You are transforming. One of the most difficult aspects of approaching death, whether literal or symbolic, is the way it disrupts relationships. Someone may exit your life suddenly, trust may fracture, or you may feel abandoned by people you thought would stand beside you forever. This pain cuts deep, and yet it carries its own wisdom. Often, the people who leave are not meant to accompany you into your next chapter. Their role was sacred but temporary. By letting them go, you honor what was while also making room for those who are aligned with who you are becoming. Do not mistake endings for betrayal. They are the choreography of destiny, and you must trust the dance even when it confuses you. And yet, the cosmos offers a paradox. For even as someone departs, another figure may return. The person you once loved, perhaps thought lost to time, may resurface. Their return is not random. It is connected to this very cycle of death and renewal. Sometimes the universe removes one connection so that it can restore another, one that carries lessons your soul still needs. This return may not be permanent. It may be brief, a flicker of unfinished business. But whatever form it takes, it will leave you changed. Death clears space for return, for reconciliation, for the healing of wounds that have lingered too long. Sagittarius, you must also face the death of illusions within yourself. Perhaps you once believed you could control everything, that your optimism alone could shield you from pain. This belief is dying. You are being asked to see life in its raw form. Unpredictable, fragile, and yet breathtakingly beautiful. Let go of the illusion of control. Let the false identities burn away. The version of you that pretended to be strong when you were crumbling, the version of you that stayed silent to keep peace, the version of you that dimmed your fire so others would feel safe. These selves are dying now, and it may ache to watch them go. But the real you, the courageous, unbreakable, visionary Sagittarius, is rising in their place. This moment is not one to fear, but one to honor. Consider rituals of closure. Write letters to those you are releasing, even if you never send them. Burn old papers, donate belongings that tie you to the past. Walk in nature and bury stones as symbols of letting go. These acts tell your soul, I am ready for endings, I am ready for death, because I trust in what will rise from the ashes. You are marked, Sagittarius, not for tragedy but for awakening. The nearness of death is not here to destroy you. It is here to strip you of illusions, to prepare you for a deeper, truer life. And when you stand in that awareness, something extraordinary happens. You become fearless. You no longer cling. You no longer hesitate. You live boldly, love deeply, and walk into the unknown with your bow drawn, your arrow ready, and your spirit unafraid. For you know now that even in endings, destiny always whispers of beginnings. Gate 3. Someone you loved will return. Sagittarius, among the many mysteries the universe prepares for you, one of the most surprising is the return of someone you once loved. The stars whisper of a reappearance, whether in body, in memory, or in spirit, that carries the weight of unfinished business and the promise of healing. You, more than most signs, know the fleeting nature of human connections. Your restless fire often propels you forward, leaving pieces of your heart scattered along distant paths. But destiny does not always allow goodbyes to remain final. Sometimes the cosmic script calls for a character to re-enter the stage, and when they do, it is never without purpose. This return may stir emotions you thought you had buried. A glance, a message, or even an unexpected encounter may pull you into a wave of nostalgia so strong that for a moment, It feels like no time has passed. The heart remembers what the mind tries to forget. This person could be a former lover, a friend who drifted away, or even a family member with whom you lost connection. Their presence, whether brief or lasting, is destiny's way of showing you that the threads of love are never truly severed. They are only stretched across time and space, waiting for the right moment to tighten again. The question, Sagittarius, is not simply why this person is returning, but why now? And the answer lies in your current season of transformation. Death is approaching, not just in the sense of endings but in the dissolution of outdated patterns, identities, and illusions. The person returning is tied to this process. They are a mirror, reflecting back to you the parts of yourself that need to be reclaimed or released. Perhaps their return forces you to confront emotions you never resolved, words you never spoke, or forgiveness you withheld. In this way, they serve as a catalyst. Their reappearance cracks open doors in your heart that you had sealed, inviting you to walk through them with new strength. For some Sagittarians, this return may carry the possibility of rekindling a romance. Yet it is important to understand that rekindling does not mean repeating. You are no longer the person you were when this love first burned bright. You have walked through fire, endured endings, and faced the shadows of destiny. If this love returns, it must meet you where you are now, not where you once were. The test is whether the love that reemerges is capable of honoring the growth that has occurred in both of you. If not, then the return serves a different purpose. Closure. And closure is its own kind of gift. One that frees you from lingering questions and allows you to move forward unburdened. In other cases, the return is not about romance but reconciliation. A friend who once drifted away may come back to remind you of the joy of shared laughter. A family member may reappear to heal wounds left festering in silence. These returns may feel less dramatic than the rush of old romance, but they are no less profound. They remind you that love wears many forms, and each form deserves recognition. Sagittarius, your heart is vast, but it sometimes struggles with staying grounded in bonds. This is your chance to honor those bonds, to show that your fire does not always have to burn bridges. It can also light the way home. The symbolism of this return also echoes through collective events. The attempted assassination of Charlie Kirk shook many into realizing how quickly lives can shift, how suddenly the people we take for granted can be taken from us. In your personal story, this return reminds you of the fragility of connection. Life is short, Sagittarius. If someone you loved has found their way back to you, it is not for you to question endlessly but to embrace fully, even if just for a season. For the universe rarely wastes such moments. Yet you must be cautious too. The return of someone you love does not guarantee their presence is meant for your long-term path. Destiny sometimes circles people back into our orbit only to give us one final lesson, one last chance to speak truth, or one more opportunity to choose differently. Do not mistake every return as a sign to resurrect the past. Instead, ask, what is this return showing me about myself? What have I learned since we parted ways? What part of my soul needs healing through this encounter? Imagine this scenario. Years ago, you parted ways with someone because of misunderstanding or immaturity. At the time, you blamed them or yourself, perhaps both. Since then, life has carved wisdom into you. When they reappear, you see the story differently. You understand that both of you were learning, stumbling, and breaking in your own ways. Suddenly, bitterness dissolves, replaced by compassion. This is the healing that destiny intends, not necessarily reunion but redemption. A chance to rewrite the story from the inside out, to release resentment and carry forward only love. Sagittarius, you are known for your fierce independence, for your ability to stride forward no matter who lags behind. But destiny is reminding you that no journey is made alone. The people who enter and exit your life are not random. They are soul companions, each carrying a piece of the puzzle that is you. When one returns, it is because their piece still matters. It may fit differently now, but it still belongs to the larger mosaic of your becoming. And what of the possibility that the one who returns is not alive but comes to you in dreams, memories, or spiritual encounters? Do not dismiss these as mere imagination. The veil between worlds is thin when destiny marks you. The dead return through signs, through whispers, through feelings so strong you cannot ignore them. If you feel the presence of someone you once loved who has passed, trust it. They return not to haunt, but to guide, to reassure you that death is not the end, only another form of love's endurance. Their return is proof that bonds of the soul are eternal, untouched by time or mortality. Sagittarius, prepare yourself. Someone you loved will return, and their presence will ignite a fire within you that has long waited to burn again. Whether it ends in reconciliation, closure, or spiritual guidance, this return is a gift. It is the universe's way of showing you that nothing is truly lost. What leaves may come back in another form at another time for another purpose. And in welcoming this return, you honor not only the love you once shared, but the destiny you are now living. Gate for the ending. Sagittarius, all journeys, no matter how vast or luminous, eventually circle back to one truth: the ending. It is a word heavy with finality, yet when understood through the lens of destiny, it carries a sacred gentleness. Endings are not punishments, nor are they cruel acts of fate designed to strip you of joy. They are the punctuation marks of life's sentences, the moments that give shape and meaning to everything that came before. Without endings, there is no story, only endless repetition. And your story, Sagittarius, has reached one of those moments where destiny writes its conclusion with fire and silence. You may already feel the vibration of this ending deep in your spirit. Perhaps it is the fading of a relationship, the closure of a chapter of work, the dismantling of a belief system, or even the shedding of an identity you've carried for too long. Whatever its form, this ending has been gathering like a storm at the edge of your horizon. You may have tried to outrun it, distract yourself from it, or deny its inevitability, but the stars remind you that endings cannot be escaped. They are the natural order of all things, and when they arrive with purpose. The assassination attempt on Charlie Kirk is one such collective reminder. The world watched in shock as life and death brushed shoulders in a single instant. For some, it felt like chaos, but for you, Sagittarius, it is a cosmic echo of your personal truth. Endings can come suddenly without warning, without asking for permission. This is not meant to frighten you, but to awaken you to the preciousness of every breath, every choice, every connection. The ending that approaches you now is not random. It has been written into your soul's contract, designed to break you open so that more light can pour in. It is important to understand that endings come in layers. There is the outer ending, the visible event everyone can see. The breakup, the loss, the farewell, the final day of a job, the moving away from a home. But beneath this outer layer lies the deeper ending, the inner release. This is the moment when your soul finally loosens its grip, when the chains of attachment fall away, when you realize you no longer need to hold on. Sagittarius, your challenge is often in this inner release. Your fiery spirit clings to freedom, yet paradoxically you resist letting go when the time comes. This ending demands that you honor both layers, the outer closure and the inner surrender. Perhaps you fear that this ending will leave you empty, but consider this. Every time you have faced an ending in the past, you have emerged not with less but with more. More wisdom, more resilience, more clarity about what truly matters. You may not have seen it at the time, but hindsight always reveals the blessing hidden in loss. This time is no different. The ending before you is not a thief, it is a teacher. Its lesson is simple yet profound. Nothing is permanent, and that is what makes everything beautiful. Imagine a sunset. It is breathtaking precisely because it ends. The fading light turns the sky into a masterpiece of colors that would mean nothing if it stretched on forever. Endings give beauty its sharpness, love its urgency, and life its meaning. The ending you face now is your sunset. It may bring tears, it may stir grief, but it will also paint your horizon with colors you have never seen before. Sagittarius, this ending also marks the final act of a cycle you've been living in for years. You are not merely closing a chapter, you are closing an entire book. And though it is tempting to cling to the familiar storylines, the characters you've grown attached to, and the roles you've mastered, you must trust that the new book waiting to be opened will carry you further than you've ever gone. The universe does not end things to leave you stranded. It ends them to propel you into expansion. There is also a collective dimension to this ending. As society reels from violence, loss, and chaos, many are questioning what must die for something better to be born. For you, Sagittarius, this is mirrored in your personal life. You must ask yourself, what am I willing to release so that my soul can rise higher? What illusions must die so that truth can flourish? What relationships, roles, or identities must be laid to rest so that I can finally walk fully into who I am meant to be? These questions are not rhetorical. They are the sacred work of this season. Do not fear grief. It is natural to mourn what ends. Allow yourself the tears, the silence, the aching pauses. Grief is not weakness. It is love in its rawest form, love that has nowhere left to go. When you grieve, you honor what was. And when you honor what was, you clear the way for what will be. This is the paradox of endings. They break your heart open, and in that breaking they make your heart larger. Some Sagittarians may feel this ending through the departure of someone dear. Others may feel it through the crumbling of structures they thought would hold forever. And for a few, the ending may arrive internally, as the death of an old self, leaving them unrecognizable to those around them. But in every case, the ending is sacred. It is destiny's way of chiseling away the stone, revealing the statue hidden within. As you walk through this ending, remember this: you are not being abandoned. You are being guided. The universe is not against you. It is for you, pushing you into alignment with a life you could not imagine while clinging to the old. Your bow is being drawn back, Sagittarius, and though it feels like loss, it is preparation. When the arrow is finally released, you will soar into horizons you could not reach before. So breathe deeply. Stand tall. Let the ending arrive. Let it strip you, shake you, and even break you. For in the breaking, you will discover that you were never fragile, you were always fire. And fire is never destroyed by endings. It only transforms, only grows brighter, only clears the way for new beginnings. Sagittarius, destiny marks you. Death is approaching. Someone you loved will return. And now the ending stands before you. Not as your enemy, but as your initiation. Step into it without fear, for it is not the end of your story. It is the moment your true story begins. Walking through the fire of destiny. Sagittarius, we have walked together through the gates of destiny, where you felt the mark upon your soul, faced the shadow of death's approach, witnessed the promise of a loved one's return, and stood at the threshold of an ending. This journey has not been light. It has asked you to confront truths that most prefer to ignore. And yet, here you are, still standing, your fire unextinguished. That is the power of Sagittarius. No matter how dark the night, your spirit refuses to surrender. The cosmos is clear. You are being initiated into a new chapter of your life. The events unfolding around you, mirrored in collective shocks like the assassination attempt on Charlie Kirk, are not coincidences. They are reminders that life is fragile, endings are inevitable, and destiny wastes no time. But within these storms lies the deeper truth. You are not powerless. You are chosen. You are being guided through endings, so that you may step into beginnings more profound than you have ever known. Someone you once loved may return, not simply to reignite the past, but to help you see how far you've come. Death, in whatever form it appears, is not here to destroy you but to free you. And the ending you face is not the collapse of your story. It is the opening of a new one. So take heart, Sagittarius. Trust the flames. Walk through them knowing you are not alone, that every tear, every goodbye, every shocking turn is shaping you into the archer who never misses the mark of destiny. If these words resonate with you, I invite you to like, share, and subscribe, not as a routine, but as a way to declare, I choose to walk this path with courage, with love, with faith in what lies ahead. The ending has come, but it is only the beginning of your true becoming.